We completely destroyed the house. Somebody punched some like $5,000 fridge, like huge ass dent. Some guy almost tried to sue me for the damages at the house.
It's like some walrus people with all this extra blubber or something, I don't know, that I don't have. Hello, this is Heisenberg White, and welcome to another classic episode of the Never Ever Show. My guest today is a man I've been following for a while now, despite the restraining order he has against me. Over the past year, he's made a name for himself in the YouTube sports analytics and commentary community. He's become one of the prominent voices in the Bills Mafia football fandom and has solidified himself truly as the Don of the Bill Mafia. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the man of the hour, too sweet to be sour, the man too hot to handle and too cold to hold. It's your boy, Dan, the Don Mitchell. How's it going, Dan?
Holy hell, Heisenberg. You want me to call you Dan or Heisenberg?
Either or, it's fine.
Either or is fine. Dan, thank you so much for having me, man. Was super excited to hop on here.
I'm happy. Yeah, I'm glad we got to link up. I saw you, we really connected when I saw you were doing one of your live streams, which, correct me if I'm wrong, but you plan on doing a couple more of those, correct?
Yeah, man, for sure. You know, I have been really trying to expand my content throughout the past couple of months, and then several of my YouTube buddies, they've been telling me to go live. And at first, I was super skeptical of it, let's say that, because I wasn't sure how I was going to be in real time, because I'm so careful, especially when I'm editing, to make sure that it sounds perfect, that I thought that I would mess up. But honestly, it was super cool, and from now on I plan on going at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Friday.
Excellent. By the way, congratulations, you just hit 5,000 subs the other day, so that's great.
Thanks, man. I
think that's going to continue to grow exponentially, and I'm looking forward to following that along with you. Kind of a weird time right now for both of us. It's the off season of football, so that's sort of normal right now that there's not a lot going on. There had been some dealings behind the scenes now, but I think the draft is going to be greatly affected by this situation. I'd love to know for you personally, what's day-to-day life quarantine like now that you've had the order to stay home?
Yeah, man. So honestly, little does my audience actually know, YouTube is not my full career, which I certainly wish it was, but I'm not quite there yet. But I work for a software company based out of San Francisco, so I have always worked remotely my entire career. So as far as work-life balance is concerned, the work part has not changed at all. I mean, I'm still waking up the same time, 8 a.m., 8:30, working from 9 to 5. And then I'm hopping on YouTube, I'm filming, I'm editing, blah, blah, blah. Really the big difference for me is just being completely taken away from my homies, not being able to go out to happy hour, not being able to go out on Friday night.
Can't kiss the homies goodnight.
Dude, you know what I mean? It's rough. So I mean, really, it's just me and my girlfriend. We're crammed in this little one-bedroom apartment. We basically have 2 little desks. We're both doing our job, so that's been an interesting adjustment, but luckily we haven't killed each other yet. So
it sounds like you're surviving, and that's good. That's the most you can hope for, I guess, at this point. And glad to see you're happy and healthy as well.
And what about you?
I'm looking to stay the same. My job has been drastically 180 flipped because I'm a recruiter for a college, so I go to other schools, high schools and community colleges, trying to recruit, and from the end of January till the beginning of May, I'm on the road Sunday through Friday, and I'm home 1 or 2 nights.
Okay.
So that's a part of the job I love too, because it's just going to new places, seeing new people, meeting new people. I had opportunities to go to Chicago and Cleveland last semester, and this time I was supposed to go to New England, but that was canceled because of the outbreak. So
I was in Chicago actually for the first time, I want to say, a month ago, maybe a week before everything popped off and stuff like that. You're really not missing out on much. You know, when I first got there, they were like, Dan, you need to try deep dish pizza. You absolutely need to try it.
Yeah, your pizza soup, I know, yeah.
I tried it. It fucking sucks, dude. It fucking sucks, straight up. By the way, I'm not sure if I could swear on this show.
It is 100% fucking encouraged, so.
Excellent.
Yes.
Beautiful. Sometimes, sometimes when I make appearances, they're like, no, like, we got to keep it PG-13, blah, blah, blah.
This channel ain't monetized. Fuck that. Go ahead.
And well, thank you for letting me be me, my friend. I love it.
The only reason I went to Chicago actually was I had a work thing in Cleveland, but I had a friend who lived in Chicago that I was going to meet up with. He's another YouTuber. He's a big-time YouTuber, Mr. Gigi. I don't know. I'll have to send you some of his stuff to check out, but I knew he was there, and I was like, this is the closest I'm ever going to get, so I might as well drive an additional couple hours west to go, and we had a fantastic time. It was nice. I didn't get to do any, like, Chicago sightseeing. I drove through the city, and that was about it. I'd like to know a couple more things before I hit you with the questions today.
For sure.
To anybody out there who's thinking of starting a YouTube channel, be it about sports or anything else, what advice would you have to give them as they're starting up?
So the number one thing that I always tell people is, like, so I'll get, like, comments or, like, direct messages and stuff like that of people being like, yo, Dan, like, I, like, really, really want to start a YouTube channel, but I just still need to save up money to buy this, to buy that, to buy that. Like, what people don't understand is, like, the key is to be consistent. Like, legit, like, if you have a smartphone, then you could legitimately film a video and upload it on YouTube. So don't sit there and don't hold yourself back just because you don't have the appropriate equipment. But at the same time, consistently get better. Spend those hours watching, like, YouTube tutorials. Like, spend those hours watching SEO videos. Like, spend those hours, like, reverse engineering what the YouTubers that you look up to, what they have done, whether or not that it's keywords, whether or not that it's titles, certain topics. Reverse engineer it and replicate it and just stay consistent. Really, like, I started YouTube about 3 years ago, and I didn't start doing sports until, like, this past August, and no one gave a shit about my videos, dude. Like, I got maybe 100 views on, like, a random video on a good day. But, I mean, I didn't stop, and I kept at it, and then eventually I just ended up finding my niche, and then eventually all my hard work ended up paying off. So that's what I would do. Just stay consistent, and don't worry about having all this fancy equipment so far. Just put out content, dude. Just put it out.
I couldn't have said it better myself. That's great. And I've been saying that for years. You know, if you think you have an idea, like, don't overthink, just do it. And once you have this physical thing out there in the world, you can go back to it and say, well, this was a lot of fun and I really like this, but I probably could do this better. Yeah. And then you can just keep building off of that. And
so what really pisses me off too is several of my friends tried to make a YouTube channel too. And, like, they'll be at it for a month and a half to 2 months, and they'll get no views, and they'll be like, oh, man, it's not for me. I'm like, dude, like, you're a fucking pussy. Like, keep going, do your thing, grind it out. Like, you're not going to be handed the fucking gold plaque 2 weeks in. Keep going. Like, just have the mindset that you're going to be at it. You're going to be building your channel for at least a year and a half before anybody gives a shit. Like, that's one thing I always say.
Right before I start with these questions, I had one more, and it was a really good question I asked one of my last guests, and I wanted to hear you say it because chances are we probably have a similar answer. But what was your favorite sports moment to witness and live through? Not from a team before you were born or when you weren't a fan, but, like, as an active fan, what was your favorite thing to witness and live through?
And so surprisingly, you would probably think that it would come from a Bills game, but it was not. Well, like, I mean, it directly affected the Bills game. Let me tell you that. It was 2018 when Andy Dalton hit his receiver, and he sent the Bills to their first playoff appearance since.
That's exactly my answer.
18 years, dude. Like, I was never more ecstatic. Like, I was probably on, like, cloud nine. Like, probably, like, the best thing to ever happen to me, minus the day I met my girlfriend, of course. So, love you, babe.
There exists a video out there of me on New Year's Eve running through the streets of Buffalo in my underwear with my brother because the Bills just got the playoff berth through the Bengals.
And so, yeah, like, was wild. As soon as when that happened, I was telling myself, was just like, I don't even care if we get fucking blown out by Jacksonville.
That high lasted
I don't
for
even
like a
care.
week.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't even care. We're in. Drought's broken. McDermott is God. Like, that was my thing.
Now, this season, though, we really earned it a lot more. It was less up to fate, but it's still for, like out of a movie, almost, that 2018 playoff, that very brief playoff run for us. It still was something else, and I I don't think I'm ever going to be able to replicate that in a million years. I don't think any team is going to have a narrower window to succeed than 4th and 12 on another team across the country. Like, that was insane.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And so say that the Bills were a movie, like, would have started probably back in, like, 2009.
Yeah.
And then the last scene would have been the Bills making the 2018. And then right before the credits, there's just, like, a sentence being like, the Bills went on to win 5 Super Bowls in the next 8 years. Credits, baby.
Yeah. My brother is also a big fan of yours, too. It's so fun. He goes to school in Cleveland, and I went to visit him once. And just casually in conversation, we started talking about the Bills, and he goes, I heard from this one guy, this YouTube, he's a Bills YouTuber. I don't know, you've probably never heard of him. He goes, Dan Mitchell. I go, the Don, Dan Mitchell. Like, I know him. He's like, oh yeah, I watch his videos all the time. He's a big fan of yours too. And when I told him I was going to be interviewing you, he's like, he's the same kind of stupid Bills optimist that we are. The ones that are like, fuck it all, like, Bills by 1,000, no matter what.
And so now it's paying off, though. Like, now we actually have something to be cocky about.
Yeah, now I don't really care.
Yeah, exactly. Like, now it doesn't really matter anymore, you know?
All right. So my first real question for you today, I've had several questions, but my first pre-planned question here for you today. If you could curse any team for the 2020 to 21 season to not win a single game, who would it be?
Oh, the Patriots.
Would it be to help our playoff odds, or just to spite some team that you don't like?
No. Just to spite them. I honestly would curse the Patriots for the rest of their franchise history. I could care less if they never won a game for the rest of their tenure in the NFL. Like, I mean, I am so excited to watch us play them this year, and I hope we just put a fucking ass whooping on them.
It's just a little bit more of an even playing field now.
Yeah.
We're on the rise. They're sort of on the fall here, which, you never can count them out, but this is going to be the defining year to see who was the better asset, the Bill Belichick coach or the Tom Brady quarterback. And I think that's probably why he wanted to split, to prove to a lot of people that, like, look, I could do this on my own no matter where I am. So he went to the worst team that he could, and that's where he is, and that's where he's going to perform. And we don't get to play him at all this year.
I know. That's a beautiful thing. And so some Bills fans will be like, oh, dude, like, I want to beat Brady. I'm like, no, you fucking don't, dude. No, you don't. Send him away as far as you can, and let us just dominate the AFCs. And what would be a great ending to the movie is as if we beat him in the Super Bowl. 2020, baby. I'm seeing it.
Let's count on that. Yes.
Let's call some producers.
Do you have any memorable sports stories you can share from when you were a child or an adolescent athlete? Did you ever play Little League or Pee Wee football or anything like that? And do you have any fun memories of that?
Yeah, dude, absolutely. So, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call it a fun memory or anything along those lines. It was my sophomore year of varsity, and we were in...
What sport?
For baseball. We were in the playoffs, like playing like this great ass team, and they called me in as a reliever. Unfortunately, they called me in as a reliever when it was extra innings already, and the bases were loaded. And then first pitch, I hung a curveball right in his wheelhouse. He took it away. We were out of the playoffs. So, I mean, it was definitely sad, but I mean, that memory has stuck with me. But then again, that's like really like molded like sort of my personality and my mindset on things. Like, I like got right back that next year and played and like didn't let it affect me and shit. So that was one thing that got me.
Very nice. Can Bills fans handle heartbreak at all in sports? Is that the thing we're known for?
Yeah, for sure. In fact, I think that was the thing that actually ended up molding me, that molded me to handle that moment as well as I did.
That's good. It made you stronger rather than give into that.
So used to heartbreak that it didn't even hurt. I was over it in like 10 minutes. I'm like, fuck it, guys. It's high school. Pfft, come on.
Yeah.
Ain't real
wait till my pro career. And then,
wait till my pro. Yeah, then I tore my ACL. It was all downhill from there.
Yeah, it was. It's politics. I didn't want to join the leagues. No, and offers left and right, but I was like, not for me.
Yeah, not at all.
How many, if you can remember, live concerts or live concert experience have you been to in your life? And can you recall your worst concert experience?
Worst concert experience? You know what, man? I really haven't been to a lot of concerts. The majority of them were sort of the the country music variety, mostly because I do live in South Carolina, so I mean that's like a huge thing. I've been to like the Carolina Country Music Festival, downtown Myrtle Beach. I've been to Corey Smith more times than I can count. My worst concert experience was a Colt Ford and a Brantley Gilbert concert, and this was before they both blew up, and it was in this thing called the Nichols Mud Bog. And in case you had no idea what a mud bog is, it's an experience, especially for anybody from New York. It's wild. It's like all of the country bumpkins get together and take their four-wheelers and trucks and shit, and they just drive around in mud. And they spend like $50 to get in. Completely blows my mind. Why would you spend your money on that? But there was like an absolute brawl. Like once like this country singer started singing like one of his songs called Take It Outside. Like there was like an absolute brawl like throughout the entire thing. Like the concert shut down, like cops were escorting people out one by one. It took us 4 hours to get out of the area.
Ugh.
It was yeah, dude. So I mean, believe it or not, that was one of the last concerts that I've ever been at.
Yeah, I've only been to a small handful, and half of the concerts I've been to were just because somebody had free tickets, and I said, I got nothing going on, so yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Let's just go.
Yeah. Where do you see your channel being a year from now, and do you have any desire to cover anything other than football
dude.
right now?
So, really when it comes down to it, like my goal is just to get as big as possible, so eventually that I can make this a career. This past August, I was at 300 subscribers, and then today I'm at 5,100. So at that rate, I'm hoping by this time next year, I'm around 20,000 to 30,000. And I'm going to stick to football. I really am, because my first mistake with YouTube was the fact that I did not have a niche, did not have a genre. And when you build an audience around no specific genre, if somebody finds you off of one specific topic and they like what you're doing, but then your next video is about something completely different, then they're not going to be about it. So that was one of the first lessons that I learned from YouTube itself. But my big plan is I eventually plan on expanding to the NFL in general. I've already started doing that. I just started a podcast called The Don Mafia Show. It's on Spotify, Apple Music, etc. And that's where it's all NFL centric. So eventually I plan on covering the entire league, but I'm going to stick to the whole football genre.
Yeah, I mean, it's taken me even years just as a hardcore fan to perfect my knowledge of Bills football, and even that isn't, 100% perfect. 32 teams, that's going to take a lot of time, but I think you're in a position where you can slowly ease your way into that and handle that. And I agree. I think you're going to be looking at double digits, 1,000 subscribers by this point next year, hopefully sooner.
Man, I mean, I'm hoping. I really am. Cross my fingers.
You've already got a couple of sponsorship deals. That's been sweet.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, man. So many people, once you get monetized on YouTube, you'll start getting emails from these things called MCNs, which is multi-channel networks. So they'll be like, oh, we'll find you sponsorships, and then they'll take 50% of your revenue. I was just fortunate enough where I came from a marketing and sales background. So I would just look up a social media person that handles a specific company that I loved, and I just cold emailed them. And I was just like, hey, have you ever sponsored a YouTube video before? So I mean, those sponsors directly came from me pestering them and just going into their inbox and basically making them sponsor me. So it's a quick little secret.
I'm glad it worked out. That's sweet. Now, I think it was maybe NBC Sports or Fox Sports just ran a poll about this on Twitter. In your opinion, what is the greatest sports movie of all time? And you can't say The Four Falls of Buffalo.
Yeah. That is the greatest documentary of all time. The greatest sports movie of all time. There's a couple. I love Friday Night Lights, dude. I love Friday Night Lights. That was one of my favorites.
Don't freak out. I've actually never seen it.
Never seen it. You need to, man. You need to. It's amazing. It's between that one and Any Given Sunday, and then The Rookie as well. Is a great-ass movie, I would say. And what would you say?
Adam Sandler, The Longest Yard.
That's a classic. That's a classic.
Cracks me up. Dodgeball, maybe?
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, at least for the 2000s era.
That's unorthodox.
Radio is a good one,
Radio
too.
is good.
I remember seeing Coach Carter.
For
too.
sure.
I don't know if there is one that absolutely stands above them all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get back to you on that.
For sure.
Next, I'd like to know, what do you like about living in the South, and what's something about the South you don't like that not a lot of people really know about?
So what I love about the South is that it's like so much more slow paced than it is up north. No one's gonna be like running you over on the sidewalk, say that like you're just strolling down the sidewalk or something along those lines. So I mean, like, things are like very, very slow paced. Like, people will stop and say, "Hey, how you doing?" Like, especially when my family first moved down here, because I was young when I moved down here. They said their biggest adjustment was like handling like random people just like walking like down the sidewalk, being like, "Hi, how are you?" And they're like, "Who the fuck are you, guy?" You know. So I mean, that was definitely an adjustment, but I just like how personable everybody is down here and stuff like that. The shittiest part about it is the humidity. Like, you could walk out here, man, and like you just lose your breath. Like, 90 degrees feels like 130 degrees and stuff like that. So I mean, I would say that it's probably the humidity is something I would definitely change.
Where would you stand on wind chill versus humidity? What would you rather put up with?
Humidity any day of the week, man. Humidity any day of the week. I am the biggest baby when it comes to cold weather, man.
I'm gonna expect to see you at maybe some of the September, October games.
Yeah. You will only see me at September and October games. Not unless we're hosting the AFC Championship. You are not going to see me up there.
To be honest, I was a few years ago at that snow game with the Colts.
Oh, dude,
like a classic.
That'd be cool.
Fuck that.
Yeah,
fuck that.
It, whatever.
It's cool. I got to be there, and I have this story now. But I was freezing the whole tailgate, and about the second I said, "All right, let's go to the stadium," boom, wall of snow, can't see, 5 feet in front of you. And it was like that we would stand up and cheer and look down, and our seats were already covered in snow. We left a little bit, I hate to admit, we left a little bit early, but I can't believe even that when I left, I still got home in time to see them in overtime win at the last second. And I couldn't believe it went to overtime and people were still there. I'm like, Jesus Christ. It's like some walrus people with all this extra blubber or something, I don't know, that I don't have.
Yeah. Crazy.
But yeah, I do get to say that I was there, which is cool. I'm trying to think if there was any other. Oh, I have one kind of interesting Bill story. My freshman year of college, I had a buddy who went to the same college of mine, who's a longtime friend. He was in ROTC, sort of like the Army training stuff.
Yeah.
And they get asked a lot to work security at Bills games, and as a result get like free tickets. Well, I think it was like one of the Veterans Day, around that time in November, where they were honoring like the troops. So they wanted to have a big American flag on the field. And he and the whole ROTC battalion and a couple others were asked to like hold the flag. And I got to go because he had extra tickets, and so it was sweet. I think that was like a Jets game, and I'm pretty sure we crushed them. It was great.
Yeah.
But
It was.
But what was funny is windy as hell that day. So they had this giant flag, 100 yards, covers the whole field. And, and the Rockets, and they're like, they were told, like, shake it a little bit, make it look like it's windy. Split down the middle, the flag rips in half in the middle of the anthem, and they have to scramble and run in and collect the flag, like it just couldn't have been a worse situation. And it was very embarrassing, but what was funny is a year later, we're sitting in our dorm room together, and we're watching like fail video compilations, and we see one called like patriotism fails, and we're like, okay, let's check it out. And it's like all like people getting their hands blown off with fireworks and shit, and the number one was him and the battalion ripping the flag in half at the Bills game. And we're like, oh no. It was apparently like linked with all these like magnetic clips or something, so it was just bad that it caught a big gust of wind and just ripped in half. So I always think that's a funny thing to say, that I got to witness at a Bills game.
That's crazy.
What television show has been your go-to binging show during quarantine?
So I was a huge Walking Dead fan. I still am a huge Walking Dead fan, and I never got into Fear the Walking Dead. So I'm currently on season 4, really about that. And then we just finished a show called Banshee. It's on Amazon right now. It was on Showtime originally, but it's about this guy that gets out of jail and then he starts impersonating a cop. Great fucking material, my friend. I love it. And still haven't watched Tiger King. So I hear that I need to watch that. So I mean, like, that's been something that's been trending that I need to take care of eventually. That's what's been getting me through.
Walking Dead has been something I've not intentionally avoided. I think I may have seen a episode or two. Given that I love so much of what AMC has done with Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul and a couple other shows, like I probably would like it, and I probably should get into it now. Walking Dead is a show that I think the most hardcore fans hate the most. Outside of like Game of Thrones, all I hear is people complain about this show, and they're like, "I've watched every season, every episode, this stupid show where it's going." I'm like, "Well, why do you watch it if you hate it?" It's like, "Oh, but it's so good at the same time."
So good, yeah. I know. Well, like I mean, like with The Walking Dead though, like they don't stick to that narrative where they'll be like, "Oh, like this is a new character, like you need to fall in love with him. He's gonna finish to the end." Like, nah, like they don't care. Like they'll have strong character arcs for 3 seasons and then just kill him on episode 4 of season 8, like. No warning, no nothing. So, I mean, like, that could be it. But I like it. Like, not that a zombie apocalypse is real life, but it's, like, the most realistic thing that could happen if a zombie apocalypse happened. You know, no one's safe. So, I mean, that's why I've always been drawn to that. So.
Okay. This should be a good one. What's your wildest college story that you're allowed to tell?
It's my wildest college story. So, I was in a fraternity. And
you and my brother.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I got a couple. So with Fraternity Rush, it was maybe about like 3 weeks away, and like us, like we were super slack. So we were like, all right, like we've done like 0 recruiting. Like what are we gonna do? So we came up with this bright idea because my buddy ended up getting like this river house in the middle of nowhere, like absolutely nowhere. Like his next neighbor was maybe a half mile down the road, etc. And then we ended up getting this idea, like, so I told my buddy, I was just like, bro, like what if we threw like a welcome to school party at your house? Would you be all right with that? And he was just like, yeah, Danny, but like you have to promise me that we can't go over like 200 people. Like that's it. Like that's the cap. And I was like, yeah, bro, cool, dude, cool. So let's just say that I marketed the shit out of it. I went a little overboard, and like close to like 3,000 people ended up showing. While the party was amazing, my buddy got evicted the next day. And it's like I can still kind of, you know, still trying to mend that relationship with him. I mean, for good reason. He's probably still kind of pissed at me for making that happen, but it was crazy, man. Like I just remember like rolling up to it, like I was like an hour or 2 late, and I just saw him like pacing back and forth like right out in front of his like front door, and he was just like, Dan, you told me there's gonna be 200 people here. There's like 3,000 people here, Dan. What are you gonna do?
Jesus.
And I was just like, you know what, bro? Here's a beer, baby. So, I mean,
there are cities in New York with a smaller population than 3,000.
Yeah, dude, was absolutely insane.
Wow, that's great.
So, but I did get karma because the next year I was a senior, and we were going on our fraternity mountain weekend, and they convinced me to put the house on my card because I was a senior and I was the oldest. I was just like, yeah, whatever, I'll do that. And then like we completely destroyed the house. Like somebody like punched some like $5,000 fridge, like huge ass dent. Some guy almost tried to sue me for the damages at the house, but luckily the fraternity ended up paying for it. So I got my karma.
Lovely.
Yeah, dude. Wild college years.
Maybe this next question is something you picked up then, or something you've had passed down to you, but what is your cooking specialty?
My cooking specialty? My girlfriend just laughed in the background. She just laughed in the background. I am spoiled, dude. Like, my girlfriend's been cooking for me every night for the past, like, 2 years. Like, I don't remember the last time that I actually made something. But back in the day, I could make a mean chicken breast and some microwavable beans, baby. That's my thing. Look at that. You're clapping. See, you can appreciate
I have
that.
about, like, 2 or 3 dishes I can do really well, and then the rest is just, pasta and takeout, like that. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
but,
for real.
God bless DoorDash.
And so I can grill. Yeah, exactly. And so I can grill and stuff like that, but I mean, as far as putting creativity into, like, some, like, amazing dish, like, I'm not your guy.
Do you have, like, a family recipe that, like, secret to your family?
My mom makes a mean buffalo chicken wing dip. Mean.
Oh yeah, I don't think I've ever had a bad buffalo chicken wing
Yeah,
yet, but
yeah,
there's
yeah,
so
for
many different like
yeah, touche.
styles
Touche.
and tastes. Yeah,
Yeah, touche.
yeah. And maybe somebody's gonna come to a party that's like, I brought a vegan buffalo chicken wing dip. Like,
Get the fuck out.
I'm a pass. Yeah. My last question, by the way, is Bills related.
Got it.
I wanted to do a little. Would you rather if we were building a primetime Bills team, like the best possible Bills team? So I'm going to give you 2 players, and you tell me which one you would rather take. But it's not all like quarterback and quarterback. It's going to be a little bit mixed with positions, but you have to choose which one, okay?
Got it.
Kyle Williams or Fred Jackson? All of these players in their prime.
All these players. I'm taking Kyle Williams.
Nice. Aaron Williams or Steven Hauschka?
Definitely Aaron Williams.
Josh Allen or T.O.?
This is okay. So this is Owens in his prime. Okay, I'm taking Terrell Owens in his prime.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, maybe we haven't seen Josh's prime yet. Maybe that's
we haven't yet. It's this year.
Yes.
So say that we reconvene. I might change my answer.
Mario Williams or LaShawn McCoy?
I'm taking LaShawn McCoy. Easy in his prime.
Devin Singletary or Ryan Fitzpatrick?
Devin.
He's only had 1 season, but
Yeah.
Shout out to Ryan though. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Trey White or Bruce Smith?
That's a tough one, dude.
Yeah.
That's a real. I mean, I'm gonna have to go with Bruce Smith because he's like my favorite Bill player of all time. So I'm gonna have to go with Bruce. But say that Trey was paired with literally anybody else, I would have picked Trey.
I love Trey. He's
Me
like,
too. Me
what
too.
other teams can say that they have like the funniest player in the league?
Yeah, yeah, I'd say so.
Lorenzo Alexander or John Brown?
Okay, we already have T.O. on the roster. I'll take John Brown.
All right. Cole Beasley or Frank Reich?
I'm gonna take Frank Reich. Solid backup opportunity.
Okay. Marquise Goodwin or Charles Clay?
Not Charles Clay. Marquise Goodwin. For sure. I still haven't forgiven Charles Clay. I still haven't forgiven him. Yeah.
Marquise Goodwin was like an okay receiver, but he's like insanely fast and athletic in real life too. He was on the Olympic team a couple of times, I think.
Yeah, he was. Worst case scenario, he'd be into a wide receiver 5, just some depth, just in case we need a nice little deep threat.
Stephon Diggs or Ed Oliver?
Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, I figured that one was easy. Sammy Watkins or Scott Chandler?
Scott Chandler.
And lastly, and this one you can take as long as you need to think about this one.
Oh man, this is gonna be tough.
Jim Kelly or Nathan Peterman?
Damn. Mm-hmm. You're hitting it with me. Peterman is the GOAT, but I'm gonna have to go with Jim Kelly. I'm gonna have to go. Poor Nathan Peterman, dude. I feel bad for that guy.
Half of his interceptions were like tipped balls. So
yeah,
just in the wrong place at the wrong time. But
they were.
When he had a bad game, he had a bad game. I was shocked when the Raiders picked him up. It was the Raiders, right? I think picked him up.
With Gruden, yeah.
Clearly, our staff saw something in him over the summer that just didn't translate. But
poor guy. What could I say? But hey, you know what? That did help us realize that we needed to draft a quarterback. Yeah. That Peterman was clearly not the answer after that game. So if Sean McDermott accomplished anything, he realized all right, well, this guy's not the future. Let's go find someone.
Right.
So.
And shout out to Johnny Mac.
Sean, dude, fucking love that guy.
I'm anxious to see what they do with the draft this year. I think they're going to be a masterful, methodical planning ahead, as they always do. So I'm really looking forward to that. But that's it for questions I have for you. Do you have any questions for me, or should we just move on to suggesting each other things?
And so what kind of beer are you drinking?
It's been the Claw recently.
The Claw.
Yeah, I had I worked for 2 different beer stores in my life, and during my college life, I had the funny thing is when you're working at a beer store in college, especially a family-owned one where the rules are a little lax, if a beer sits on the shelf too long, you can't really sell it. So he would just like the owners would like give it to the employees just to take home. So I would be showing up
to bunch of skunked beers.
Yeah, so I would be showing up to parties. Everybody's got Coors Light, and I've got like, I have a Christmas ale from 2014. Like I would show up with these really nice craft beers, but they were like super old. But last year I was cursed. I think I found out I had celiac disease, which means no more gluten, which means I had to cut out, beer, pizza, pasta was my entire, food pyramid pretty much.
Yeah.
But God bless the Claw for coming out. So I've been having a little bit of that, but sometimes I'll still have a beer. Like, it's just around.
Yeah.
Miller Lite was like my go-to, I think, for a while, and I really liked IPAs too. So.
Cool.
All right, my friend. Anything else before we move on?
No, man. Let's hop in these suggestions.
Okay, Dan, I have a couple of suggestions for you I'd like you to check out in the next week or two. I know you're going to be a busy man and have no time at home. You're out on the road as often as you can be. So, for television, I love the show, and I'm pretty sure it's still airing new episodes, Archer on FX.
Okay.
John Benjamin, you've never seen it before?
No, I have not.
Have you seen like Bob's Burgers or any of his other John Benjamin's?
And so I love Bob's Burgers. I love Bob's Burgers. So
there's an episode of Archer where he is Bob in Bob's Burgers, and I won't spoil anything, but it's a very quick paced humor, and it's a riot. So I think you're going to enjoy that. For music, there's this specific artist, but he collaborates often or is either a part of this group called the Suicide Boys. His name is Ghostemane. Ghostemane derived from his like white streak of hair, I believe. It's some very sad boy type hardcore rap.
Sad
hip-hop.
boy. Okay.
Yeah, I discovered it back in I think like 2017, and it's just too fucking hardcore and cool to pass up. I'd love for you to check that out. There's a couple of great tracks on YouTube. Now, movies, there's a real hidden gem that it might be on Netflix still. I'm not sure. I saw it in theaters back in 2012, I think, and the buzz around the movie was this movie's like really violent, like, it's like super violent. I watched it. It was okay. And then nobody talked about it ever again. The movie Lawless with Shia LaBeouf and Tom Hardy and Guy Pearce. It's a period piece about sort of like a Prohibition era America, but it's this high stakes action film, and it's just a blast. It's something cool. I think you'll like it. And lastly, I'm going to kind of pull a dick move here, and I'm going to have you do something for me that I just haven't been getting around to do yet.
Okay.
My cousin has a podcast, and if you know people who have podcasts, all they want you to do is listen to their podcast. By the way, shout out Dan Mitchell and your podcast later.
Thanks, man.
So he has a sports podcast with a bunch of his friends, and they're all Buffalo fans too, and I should probably check it out, but I just haven't bothered to yet. So I want you to check it out for me, do some recognizance for me, and find out if it's worth checking out, okay?
Cool. Will do. And so what's it called again?
The 3-Star Recruits is the name of their YouTube channel, and they cover, looks like, all sorts of sports.
3-Star Recruits. 3-Star Recruits.
Yes.
Dropping it a sub as we speak.
Nice. Well, they'll be happy to have you.
Okay. All right. So I guess it's now my turn.
Yeah, get creative. Think of things that you think I would like that I haven't seen before.
Yeah, for sure. So you mentioned that this was prior to the show, you loved American Vandal. The same guy that collabed on that project did a straight-to-YouTube TV show called The Real Bros of Simi Valley.
Okay.
It's like dumb bro comedy, but I'm practically almost willing to guarantee about 50% of your audience knows exactly what I'm talking about.
It's totally over my head. I've never even heard of this, but it's on. You said that it's free on YouTube right now?
It's free. Yeah, it's free. The first season is on YouTube, and the second and third season are on Facebook Watch, but you can take your time on that.
Sure. Okay. And by the way, when I say TV, I mean the first couple up. I don't need you to watch the entire series. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Got you. Movie. I mean, you're gonna have to watch Friday Night Lights.
I guess.
Cardinal sin. You haven't seen it. I mean, that's a cardinal sin. You haven't seen it. Music. There's this new rapper named Jack Harlow. He is very, very, very talented. He's on the come up. He like came up maybe a year and a half ago, but he's been dropping some very like lyrically intelligent tracks, which is always good.
Gotta love it. Okay, I'm excited. Yeah, I'll check that out for sure.
Yeah, so I mean that's something that's pretty good. And then last but not least, Wildcard, dude, I'm gonna have you make a TikTok, bro.
Now, why would you say something like that? Because you have a TikTok of your own? Are you updating it frequently, or is it like buried and long gone?
No. I just, and so I figured that I just want you to make a TikTok. Me personally, like that's like not my style, but I mean, is what it is.
Oh, I'm proficient in making a fool of myself on the internet, so this is the next next
me
natural
too.
progression,
Me too.
I guess.
It's my side hustle is making a fool of myself on the internet.
I've just been avoiding that for so long because I know I'm going to make something really stupid and it's going to come back to bite me. Years later, they're going to be like, what's this video of you dancing topless on top of your car? Like, what's that about? Like, I'm going to be like, you guys know this guy named Dan Mitchell? Yeah, he's a real asshole. No, thank you so much, though. This was a blast. I've got my suggestions here, and I'm really excited to get started because this whole weekend I've got, nothing else going on. Might as well check this shit out. So,
yeah, man, absolutely.
This was so cool, and we're going to come back in a week or two when we've seen and reviewed everything. We'll do a quick part 2, and we'll go from there. So until then, thank you very much, and we'll see you in a week.
Cool, man.
And we're back. It has been about a week since we last had our first part of the interview. Dan is back with me again today to talk about some of the things that we got to check out throughout this week. We had a lot of free time this week, obviously, just being stuck at home. So
for sure.
Tell me about the week you've had.
Oh, hey, man, I'm like definitely slowly slipping into madness from the past time we spoke. I think my boredom's at an all-time high, but I mean, let's just say that I'm not necessarily wasting time. Definitely been taking this time to pump out like way more content than usual, and it definitely helps, like that. And I'm like spending time with a girlfriend and stuff like that too, so it's slowly but surely I'm getting used to this entire situation. I'm like really hoping that it's over soon, but I mean, really, all in all, it's been great. And how about you?
You're the only guy I know who can thrive in a sports channel with no sports.
Oh, man, dude. It's like me just pulling topics out of my ass, to be honest with you.
What if the Bills were traded to Zimbabwe and they started the first ever African League?
What if the Bills were traded to Zimbabwe? Yeah, I know, dude. Surprisingly, like that probably wouldn't be like the weirdest suggestion I've ever had.
Hell no. You get a lot of weird suggestions, people with football comments talking like, hey, would you ever cover this?
Yeah, dude, like stuff like that or whatever, or like just like really weird takes and stuff like that or whatever. Like, oh, dude, like what's the chances we could bring back Stevie Johnson? I'm like, dude, no. Yeah. Stuff like that or whatever. Like, now what I am thinking about doing a video exclusively like reading some of like these terrible takes. Like, obviously, I'll like completely keep the people anonymous, but I mean, some of them are just so funny that I can't not put them on the internet.
That's going to make for some good content. I'd love it.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, and as for me, I've been doing okay. I've come to help my parents out just a little bit throughout this week and also spend a little bit of time with them, Easter weekend and all. I've got to go back to work Tuesday, but I'm going to enjoy the weekend off, and I'm going to enjoy Dingus Day on Monday, remotely, by myself. I don't know if you're familiar with that Buffalo Polish custom or not, but...
No, was actually super curious to see what that was.
I don't think you would believe me if I told you what it was.
Well, try me.
There's debatable, like, where the tradition that we know today really started, but most people agree it was in Buffalo. And a lot of New York and like, I think even Cleveland does a celebration. It's always the Monday after Easter. The tradition goes, after feasting and drinking, as often as possible on this day, eating pierogies and all their Polish cuisine, it started out that the men/boys would take buckets of water and throw them onto girls that they liked. And if the feeling was reciprocated, the girls would take pussy willow sticks and just whack the hell out of them.
Wow. That's a holiday.
And it's been it's fluctuated over there. Like now they incorporate more squirt guns and things like that. It's a little less violent. But Krupnik, if you've ever had it before, is still a main staple. It's a honey liqueur, Polish honey liqueur. It's a big deal over at my house.
Wow. Well,
yeah, it's wild. It's our like Cinco de Mayo.
Well, you know what, man? I sincerely hope you enjoy your Dingus Day.
There's always a big parade in Buffalo, and unfortunately, obviously, this is not going to happen this year. But I'm going to have pierogies anyway. So
nice. Hell yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about our week and what we've had to check out. I have one TV show, movie, album that I got to review that you suggested, and another fourth thing. Why don't we start with music? I'm going to start with your suggestion, Jack Harlow.
Uh-huh.
I checked it out. I checked out some of the tracks you recommended and a couple of extra ones also. It's some real head bobbing shit, like
for sure.
Yeah,
it slaps, man. It slaps.
Absolutely. It's I could see this is probably is really good workout music to get the adrenaline pumping. For sure. Mm-hmm. And you sold it to me as lyrically intelligent, and after one or two listens through, I get what you're saying. I understand that, and there's always a good place in the hip hop community where people like that are creative like that can really thrive. I was more unimpressed with like just the beats and the backing track. It was very simple. It wasn't anything majorly complex, and I guess it doesn't need to be. But I just felt like it could have been. This is somebody who's clearly going to continue to grow and grow throughout their career. I saw videos back in 2017. This little skinny white boy, like I almost couldn't believe what was coming out of this dude's mouth. Just he doesn't look the part, but
no, yeah, he does not at all, man. Like honestly, like looking back, like. When we connected last week, I like sort of wish that I would have told you to check out Rod Wave. He's been like this R&B singer that I've been listening to lately. He has like some good stuff, but I mean like that's just gonna be something that you'll need to check out right on your own. But I mean as far as Jack Harlow is concerned, I can definitely see that. And you are right, it's definitely that head bobbing shit.
Mm-hmm. If I were to rate it out of 10, and I hope you're gonna do these ratings with me as well, I'd give it probably a solid 6.5 out of 10. In terms of like
out of 10.
It probably met my expectations, and I most likely will continue to listen to it, but he's not about to be my new favorite artist yet. But I have a lot of his
sure
catalog to look through, so we'll see.
Hell yeah. So mine was Ghost Main, right? So I mean, here's the thing, man. I had a very difficult time getting into it. The first song that you sent me was Mercury, and I felt like my eardrums were about to explode with like the bass that was in there. Like first off, like I'm not taking it away from him. He's clearly talented, especially when it like lyrically and especially when it comes to lyrics. But I mean, as far as like his overall production is concerned, I just thought it like really wasn't up to par. Like didn't sound like that. Like he like actually had a professional producer, like was in a studio, like sounded like was just like his beats like really turned me off, and it like prevented me from actually enjoying how good he was lyrically, if that makes sense.
No, I mean, I don't even know how to like sell it to people. Like screamo rap?
It's
like,
weird.
Is that even a thing?
Yeah.
And it is a little bit of that, but okay, so I get what you're saying. What's funny for me is like his sound and his lyrics are only like secondary to what I enjoy a lot, which is like the really fucking like hard beats and shit. Like that's what I liked, but you were a little bit put off with that. You're into a little bit more, don't be so goddamn aggressive kind of like tracks. Yeah.
And so don't get me wrong. Like I mean like I like almost got like a Young Jeezy vibe almost, you know what I mean? Like sort of like his like sit back and just like sort of like that hard rap and stuff like that, and I liked it, but I mean realistically not my cup of tea, and I probably would have given it a 4 out of 10.
Okay, well I appreciate your honesty. All right,
yeah, for sure.
Let's move on to movies now. You sort of
I had
like
a good one.
you freaked out when I said I'd never seen Friday Night Lights like I should have, and now I get it. It's about what I mean when you're looking for the standard of what a romantic comedy should be, certain movies come to mind, or action movie. When you think football movie, I mean, this is like this is just like every movie should at least be this. And then go from there. It had less of a focus on anything distracting from the football part of the story, which I really liked. I think some people might be more like, well, who are these characters? Who are these people? And they showed a little bit into their lives, like the one guy who has sort of like the borderline abusive father.
Yeah.
But
that was Tim McGraw, by the way.
Oh shit. That's great.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
But it always went back to football, but it wasn't, I didn't feel like I was just watching Sunday Night Football. There was a story, there was an arc, there was, I was emotionally invested. The based on the true story bit, that any time you see that, they're going to embellish just a little bit to make the story a little bit more interesting. But I really thought that for what it was trying to sell me as a really investing football movie, that it actually really delivered, and I was pretty happy with it. It also is very much, as much as I liked it, and I'm sure you do, this has definitely got to be people who peaked in high school. This has got to be like their Citizen Kane.
Oh, for sure.
Where they're, these superstars, athletes, and at the end of the movie, it's like, Joe went on to open a car dealership.
Stuff like that, yeah.
Who were absolute
well, like,
kings
honestly,
in high school, yeah.
And so what I liked about it too was the fact that like it didn't end like every like cliche sports movie where they end up winning the championship. Like,
and debatable.
It was a realistic ending.
Did they though?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And debatable too. So like was like a realistic ending, which like that's why I appreciated it so much. And I guess you could say that it just meant more.
It was grounded in reality. It was less out of Hollywood, and that's based on a true story. Sometimes reality is stranger than fiction. So,
For sure.
I'd have to go another 6.5 out of 10, possibly a 7. As far as sports movies, that as heavily as it was sports, I was still pretty emotionally invested in it. So, I think it over delivered in terms of what I expected. So yeah, I'd say 6.5, maybe 7 out of 10.
Nice, hell yeah. Well, my movie was Lawless. And you hit the nail on the head when you said that you were surprised that people never talk about that movie, because it was probably like, I would say it probably leaked onto like my top 20 list of all time.
No shit.
Really, it really was. Well, first off, like I am a huge Tom Hardy fan. I have never seen a bad Tom Hardy movie, and I really have never seen a bad Shia LaBeouf movie either. Like those two actors' chemistry was just absolutely out of this world. Loved the timepiece. Loved how like you would expect Forrest and then Shia LaBeouf obviously to be the antagonist moving into the movie itself, but then it like went to sort of show like the government corruption into it and everything like that, which is super, super intriguing. I was kind of pissed on how Forrest died. I was kind of pissed about that. Like, that was just kind of like, come on, dude. Like, that's totally screwed. Like, I mean, like, worst case scenario, like, have him walk out to, like, in the woods, and rather than falling into, like, the ice and stuff and then dying of pneumonia, like, have someone, like, just, like, shoot him and, like, movie ends or something like that. Like, that would have meant a lot. But, I mean, overall, love the damn movie. Just because I'm pissed on how the way Forrest died,
it was already, the movie was already over.
It was, but like,
isn't that fitting though? Isn't that cosmic that he could go through so much shit, and what does him in
is pneumonia.
He gets a little cold.
Yeah. Is pneumonia is what does him in. Yeah. Hey, you know what? Well, like, I mean, like, since you put it that way, that does make it interesting. But I mean, really, all in all, dude, fantastic movie. That's an 8.5 out of 10 for me.
Ooh, that's awesome. I'm so happy. Yeah. Every couple of years I go back and revisit it, and the same thing. I'm like, I wish I could talk to somebody about this, but like, for whatever reason, it's just slipped through the cracks. And it's not as widely discussed as it should be. Now, for television, you recommended television. This was an internet series. Did it start on YouTube, or was it always on Facebook?
So it started on YouTube, and then it went to Facebook. Its second season.
I'm talking about the Real Bros of Simi Valley. You sort of, got your antenna up when I said American Vandal was a show that I liked. And you said, oh, well, you're going to love this. And boy, I binged through that first season about as quickly as possible and was really upset. Well, this is how stupid I am. I watched the whole first season. I was really upset. I'm like, God, I wish there was more. I totally forgot that you told me that there's like a whole other 2 seasons on Facebook until like a few days ago. And I was like, wait a minute. And I went back and I started watching season 2. I'm like, oh yes, there's more of this shit. It happened so fast. There's something to love about intelligently written dumb comedy.
Yeah, for sure.
That I love so much. Rather than like a show like The Big Bang Theory, which is dumb written intelligent comedy, you know, really low hanging fruit, like, you know, just a lot of keywords that, like, you know, nerd, you know, they're like, oh, that always gets a laugh out of them. But something about portraying people like this in such a way, in this format, in this frame of reality television, it's already like what people think, like when they think reality TV, like the most dumb, like vapid, you know, stupid people. But it definitely goes a step beyond that. But you love them so much. It's so you know a person in real life like each of the characters, I think.
For sure.
It is short but perfect. I love the lead guy. You know, what's his name?
His name is Jimmy Tatro.
He's hysterical. He's awesome.
Yeah. And so I really love his friend Bryce.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
It's almost too real of a show. Like,
I know.
This is a little sad, but like this shit definitely happens.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Easily a 9 out of 10. Loved it.
Nice, dude. I am definitely glad that you got into it. I always try to put my boys on to the Real Bros of Simi Valley. My show was also a slapper, was Archer. I'm surprised that I never watched it, especially since it was like the exact same voice from Bob's Burgers. I forget the voice actor's name, but I mean, like, the entire show. John Benjamin. Well, like, I mean, like, let me tell you one thing, dude. Like, that entire thing was, like, I'm surprised that I did not start watching it. I, like, watched, like, I want to say a couple of episodes into the first season, and it's like Bob Burgers, but, like, it's, like, that level above where, like, the comedy is a bit more mature, and I absolutely love it. Like, Sterling is absolutely hysterical, just like your common drunken sex fiend and stuff like that just so happens to have this, like, high-paying, badass career, sucks at it, but just skirts through life because his mom's, like, the head of everything. It's brilliant. It is brilliant. And
it's so fast.
It is.
It's like 100 miles an hour. Yeah.
It is. And, like, I mean, I've always been, like, and so, like, a huge fan of, like, Family Guy and American Dad and Bob's Burgers. I was surprised that I never genuinely gave it a try, and it was amazing. So, all in all, that's definitely going to be my next series. I'm, like, finishing up Fear the Walking Dead right now, but as soon as when that's done, that's going to be, like, my late night show where I just, you know.
Hell yeah, you got a lot to catch up on, too.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Just throw a couple back and do it up. I'd say all in all, I'd probably give that about a 7.5 out of 10.
Excellent. And you've got a lot, and it only gets better as the series goes on, so I think you're really going to enjoy it. Well, that's great. Okay, I'm glad I got a couple of things right here that I knew you were going to enjoy.
Hell yeah.
I feel like we've got a really good idea of each other's tastes at this point.
Yeah.
But now for our last little thing. You had me make a TikTok account because you thought that would be fun. Well, turns out you were right, and it actually is kind of fun. I've been watching, like, dank meme TikTok compilations for months, and I've always thought I could do that, but maybe not. Like, maybe it's not going to be that good. I don't know. Like, maybe it's not for me. Maybe I missed. I never was into Vine. Like, I would also watch, like, Vine compilations and all these, Vine memes, but I just never made any myself. But I think now, just because the technology is a little bit more updated than it is, and now I have the means to, like, actually make physically, edit and cut some professional things. I have a lot of ideas that I really want to do. I made one that was really simple, but I thought it was funny. I'm going to definitely keep expanding on that. You can all follow me on TikTok now at HeisenbergWhite917. Be happy to get your support. Look forward to some fun content. But exploring the app and it's such an interesting layout and format for an app, and you just you just accidentally stumble on things that are really cool and really funny. You can't really look for it. It just kind of happens. And I'm going to definitely continue to check it out, and maybe we can even collab one day on a TikTok or something.
Yeah, dude, most definitely. That would require me actually making a TikTok, but as soon as when that happens.
Reviving your TikTok.
Reviving, yeah. And then I just deleted all the videos, and then...
Out of retirement, guys.
Out of retirement, wow. Maybe I'll just have to make a new one. We don't even know. So mine was... Oh, never mind. You still need to give your ranking.
As a rating, I don't know. It's too soon to tell. I had fun making the first one, but like I've done nothing on it. Not nothing.
You're so young into
I've got a lot to explore.
You're so young you're so young right into your TikTok career that like you're gonna be thanking me in like 3 years, and you have like, you know, like 30 million followers or something like that.
Just a matter of time.
Just shout me out, dude.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay. Yeah. So mine was that I actually ended up checking out your cousin's podcast.
Thank you, by the way, for that.
No, yeah. And believe it or not, dude, like, you should, like, really check it out. I would definitely be happy to be a guest on their podcast. Like, first off, because I love talking Buffalo Bills. I listened to the episode they did when they were talking about the Diggs trade, I wanted to say. And they know what they're talking about, man. They do. So,
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
You put out a little notice, big event happening, big Zoom call happening with, you know, people can join in of other YouTubers of teams. I sent them that link, so they might just happen to tune in. Plus, I told them about you, and they've been checking out your shit too, and they really like it. So
yeah, hell yeah. Well, like, I mean, like, definitely let them know that I definitely see a lot of promise. Like, it's all about trial and error, man. Like, just like slowly and surely improving on like the whole podcasting and YouTube video stuff.
Same thing too. I mean, what a time to start a sports podcast.
Yeah, dude.
Everything's gone. Man. Yeah,
exactly, man. Like, I actually went on one this morning, as a matter of fact. One of my Patreon contributors started the podcast, and he asked me to come on. It was fun, dude. Like, honestly, this niche is so underrepresented that I always recommend people to start and create, dude. Yes.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah.
I think if anybody has a voice, an idea, something, they should go out and do it. And let us know when you do it, and we'll check it out.
Absolutely.
What would you rate it?
I'm going to give them an 8 out of 10. And so I thought it was great. Like, their knowledge is very good. I think that their production could improve. But, like, they just started. So, I mean, I'm not expecting it to be, like, 100%. But I have a feeling that they have a future. So, I mean, hopefully they can
Star recruits.
Keep doing it up.
Excellent. That's awesome. Dan, this was a total blast. I really enjoyed all the stuff I got to check out and our conversation.
Yeah, man.
This was a lot of fun. I think we may eventually be able to collab on something again in the future. That'd be awesome. Thank you so much for just taking the time to speak.
For sure, man. Well, you're going to be on my channel, I think, next week. I'm going to come up with some type of Bills topic, and then I'm going to have you and like 2 others on, and we're going to have a little roundtable conversation. So if you want to tell your...
Whatever the worst take is, I will wholeheartedly defend it. Yeah,
the worst take? Okay. Yeah, man.
What do we have to do to bring Peterman back? I say trade away the...
What do we need to do to bring Peterman back immediately?
Come on.
Oh, man.
Well, until next time, then, I guess. This has been Heisenberg White, the Never Ever Show. Dan Mitchell, you can catch him on... Dan, what's the name of your channel? The full proper name.
Just Dan Mitchell.
Dan Mitchell?
Just Dan Mitchell. Dan Mitchell.
Dan Mitchell.
Dan Mitchell, yeah.
Nostradamus, the man who predicted so many excellent Bills games that I almost didn't subscribe because he was so asininely confident that we were going to win. And then when we did, I was like, hell yeah, this guy's awesome.
Nostradamus.
Yeah.
This guy's Nostradamus right now.
We're going to kill the Cowboys at Thanksgiving. Oh, yeah, sure. We'll see about that. We fucking annihilated him. Wow, what a season, man. Until next season, and hopefully there is one.
Yeah, for sure.
This was the Never Ever Show. Links to some of the things we talked about in the description. Thank you very much. See you next time. Bye.
Later, guys.